Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Psyche. And today we are going to be going over all the persona for Survivor. Basically, guys, with the most recent balance change to Identity 5, there has been a huge rework to the persona webs for both survivors and hunters, and today we're going to be covering the best persona webs for survivor side and all the general builds that you can run with almost all the survivors. Now, with that being said, guys, take this with a grain of salt. You guys can be the judge here. You are free to decide what you want on your builds. These are just suggestions over all the time I've played this game. Now, despite that, guys, I would highly suggest you run 3 specific things on all builds regardless of the survivor, and that is you want 2 final traits, you want exit path, and you definitely want companion effect on almost every single survivor besides Mercenary and Wildling. So without further ado, guys, let's get right into the first build, which is the Broken Windows build. Now, of course, we have the borrowed time here. We do have the broken windows, we have the companion effect, and we have the exit path. But it might surprise you guys that we're actually running Weber's Law on this build, and it gives you such a strong start to your kite. It's actually a little bit unbelievable how good it is. I've especially underrated it because I don't often find myself running Flywheel. But when it comes to getting surprise attacked by Wu Chang, Percy, any kind of surprise hunter, or any single hunter where they will just teleport on you with trump card, and that's basically every hunter at that point. Weber's Law comes in real clutch. So you guys will see in this game, for example, we do have the escape bonus since the X kit's already active, so we don't get 20 from the eyeball. But right here, the Weber's Law is actually going to activate. It's going to allow us to get some distance. We do have dungeon, but it's mostly bait. It's mostly bait, I'm not going to lie, because I don't think our teammates are getting out in time. And so we're just going to go for the exit gate. And thanks to Weber's Law, we're able to realistically make this Uno now. Dodge the ghost, get another boost, avoid the blink, so the hunter's somehow not next to us. I guess they failed to blink a little bit. And because of our abilities, because of Weber's Law, because of broken windows, all those things combine together. And of course, even if that was an actual kite, Weber's Law would come in really clutch there, just providing a very strong start to our kite. Here's another example where we're able to play a little bit differently. We're able to use tall walls to our advantage because we know we're going to have the strong wall. So even if the hunter gets a fast start on us, it's not a big deal. We were able to use cover to our advantage. They weren't able to get a good violindo off because of that, not knowing where we are ahead of time. And we just get such a good start into the window, get a window boost out of it, and now the hunter's so far away, they figure, all right, may as well just move on. And so very strong build, highly recommend Weber's Law. Here is an alternate Broken Windows build. If you don't want Weber's Law, I would highly suggest Great Power, especially on something like Novelist or Enchantress. And here we have Compensate. I know not a lot of people talk about Compensate, but this is a very underrated perk. It's just really nice for you to be able to see where the hunter is, especially in rank match, if you have people who are not pinging to you, or maybe start of the game and you're just on a cipher and no one's been chased for a while. This is a great way to get a head start on the hunter without anyone having to ping where the hunter is, or if it's Wu Chang, just miss a calibration to see if they're using their umbrella. And here's another build. This is with defense mechanism, and with these last 5 points, there's not a whole lot to grab. Like I said, Compensate is pretty good, but unfortunately, guys, there is literally no difference to dropping speed in defense mechanism. That's why I'm not going to say that this is the best build, because of the fact that it literally only applies to Vault, unfortunately. So take it how you will, guys. If you want to run defense mechanism, all good. Moving on to the next build, we have, I believe, the best Flywheel build for all general survivors. I'm going to be running, of course, the big 4. We're going to be running Flywheel, Borrowed Time, Companion Effect, and Exit Path. But on this build, I decided, you know what, Horsefly Effect is probably going to be better than defense mechanism. So let's just take it. It works on all health states. And at this point, you're going to have around 15 points left. So spend it how you will. But I decided that probably the best way to spend it is on Brewing Effect, on Survivor's Instinct, because Decode is king. And surprisingly, I feel Birdcage can be pretty good, because in a situation where you're the only person who can do a base and rescue, it is much more likely for Birdcage Effect to save you than it would be for Defense Mechanism or Muscle Memory to save you in a kite. So not that much to say here, guys. Horsefly Effect on all Flywheel builds I feel is auto-include. It's just better than Defense Mechanism, works on all health states, and it's especially valuable for those slower pallet dropping characters. Being able to move from pallet area to pallet area very swiftly, it's a very important thing in this game. Even for the faster pallet drop characters, it's just really nice to go from area to area very quickly. For our next build, we have the General Rescuer build. We got Tide Turner, Borrowed Time, Companion Effect, and exit path. But because this is a general rescue build where I expect you guys to get chased, not like Mercenary or Wildling, I do have some Horsefly effect for you guys to help out on the kiting aspect. But Symbiotic Effect, this is something I've already been running in the past, but Symbiotic Effect also got buffed even further in the past update. It doesn't give a whole lot of detail, so I went ahead and tested it out for you guys. And through my testing, I found that you get a 10% buff when you're 32 meters or more away from the chair. You get a 8% buff when you're between 32 and 17 meters from the chair, and you get a 6% buff when you're 16 or less. So needless to say, you're going to be getting that 10% buff probably most of the paths to the chair. And right here, guys, you will see that thanks to Symbiotic Effect, we're able to spend extra time being able to decode the cipher before we even have to go do the chair rescue. It's really important that you as a rescuer be able to finish your cipher, because now that's time no one has to spend walking back. We're able to use our abilities if we need to reach the chair, but in this situation we don't even need to. That wasn't a very good pickaxe, so thankfully we just do a regular rescue here. We can use our ability to help our teammate if we need to, but again, he hit the tree, so no need to. Our health state is not as important in this situation, so we're willing to give him recovery because Enchantress is the one who's going to be taking advantage of that recovery anyway. Our health does not matter as much here. But here's another example where we're in a kite, and this is a situation where rescuers can seriously get chased, and not having Horsefly Effect is a serious detriment. You guys see here, we don't have Horsefly Effect, and because of that, the hunter is able to catch up significantly quicker. Maybe not significantly, but overall, it adds in the long term. Eventually, you guys will see by the very last pallet that we drop in this clip, the hunter could probably hit us through it, and had we had Horsefly Effect, that would probably not happen. So I try to approach this other pallet, try to save the good pallet, forgetting that we don't have Horsefly Effect, and the hunter probably could have hit us through right there. So Horsefly Effect, very important on your rescue characters. Make sure you have it on, unless you're Mercenary or Wildling. For the next kind of character that we're going to be talking about, it is the Harasser. They have a pretty typical Flywheel build, but instead we're going to be running Empathy, which is an ability that lets you speed yourself up when someone gets knocked down. For the most part, this is just a worse version of Symbiotic Effect, but when you're a Harasser, you don't have a chair target, so being able to speed up to a knockdown person is very important, especially for those range characters like Batter or Archer. In this case, Empathy was not able to trigger because we are already too close to the hunter, so sometimes it won't give value. But in a different case, where this Perfumer got knocked down, we were barely able to catch up to her, all thanks to Empathy's speed bonus. Granted, the Sculptor did a little bit of a late excitement, but I think being able to barely catch up to a survivor who just is about to get picked up is very important, and it could be the difference maker in a game. Now that we've gone over the general builds, let's go over some character specific builds. Here we have a Perfumer Barmaid build where we're going to be running Touch Effect. This is surprisingly helpful, especially on Perfumer. You get a pretty hefty boost every time you heal yourself. We also have Catharsis Effect, since these characters are going to be taking multiple hits, unlike other survivors where they're just going to take one hit and that trait is going to activate literally only once. But here you guys go. We get such a huge hit speed bonus that against a character like Geisha, we're able to now go in a huge circle around these walls. Keep in mind, this whole time she's unable to use her dash if she wants to catch up to us. So all that time we spent running around is actually just free kite time that we got there. Once again, we're able to play the PAL more dangerously because we're playing Perfumer, since anyway we have the perfume up and ready, and once again you get this really huge speed boost. It just really adds up, and this is just 2 perfumes, guys. We didn't even get to do a full kite. And once again, guys, here is a different example. We got Fool's Gold here chasing us, and he's gonna catch up to us, but we have the perfume ready. We time it so that he hits us, and we're gonna get so much distance here. But the one thing I will say, don't overestimate how much distance you get. It's only 1.5 seconds, and you guys see here, he gets a little bit dangerously close. Thankfully, not close enough to use his pickaxe on this wall in time, but I feel like maybe if he just took a little bit better lines, he might have been able to. So keep that in mind. Be a little bit careful just how far you run away, and you should be good to go. Very good trade overall. Highly recommend running this one. Now, guys, let's get into Mercenary / Wildling. Since these 2 characters are not going to be getting chased, we're not running the Horsefly Effect, and we're also not going to be running Companion Effect, because once again, we're not expected to get chased. Instead, we're running the massively buffed Healing, which is anyway a perk I ran on Mercenary, but thanks to the extra 10 points, we're now also able to run Symbiotic Effect, and vice versa on Wildling. We're now able to run Healing on Wildling. You guys are able to see this is a game where about 90 seconds ago I got injured, and now we are getting healed by this postman, and we are already at 55% health. I never got healed this game. I just walked up, and now thanks to this perk, I'm now able to rescue this character, this Mind's Eye, in a situation where we will be screwed having to spend so much time healing. I mean, the hunter would have caught us out in the open. We wouldn't have the time spent decoding the Cypher machine. But now we're able to do a pretty safe rescue. We're able to take our time, stall it out, even body block for the Mind's Eye instead of being knocked down. And all because of that, we're able to have our Cypher primed, all thanks to healing. Very strong perk. Highly recommend this on Mercenary or Wildling. The next character we're going to be talking about now is Knight. If you do not have a Barmaid or Psychologist on the team, the best build to run with Knight is Broken Windows and Borrowed Time, not High Turn. This is something I want to clear up in this video now. The only time you should be running High Turn on Knight is if you have a plan in a tournament or you have Barmaid Psychologist on the team, because these two characters will basically ensure that Knight will be able to rescue 2 times. But if you don't have those characters on your team, there's no guarantee that you'll be able to pull off 2 rescues as Knight. And obviously you don't want to use both your shield and High Turn on the same rescue, because that would be like putting on 2 rubbers. A lot of Knights try to depend on their helmet giving them a shield, but that is not a reliable strategy. The hunter might predict your predictions, the hunter might find you from far, the hunter might hit you after rescue even when you got a shield, and they'll just wait out your shield. But most of all, guys, you should be saving your ability because it's so strong in-game. It can save your life and get you a dungeon or exit gate escape, or it can save your teammates' life and help them get an escape, or just in general keep them alive. Long story short, guys, you don't want to run a build that forcefully uses your abilities that are so much stronger in-game and can help save your teammates' lives. Just run Broken Windows, especially because you kind of have built-in High Turn and you are a chaseable target. The next character we're going to be talking about now is Explorer, and assuming that you hide well with Explorer, you don't really need kiting abilities, so instead you can run High Turn with him, makes him a very versatile character as a result. Obviously, we have symbiotic effects to go along with this, but what's different of Explorer with High Turn is that he can run Airwalk, and he needs to, not because we're trying to hide his tracks here, that got nerfed, but instead what got buffed about Airwalk is we're able to hide the confetti that drops from an injured survivor. That completely exposes you if you hide, so you want to make sure you run Airwalk to hide that. With the last 5 points, you can choose to run Sneak or Survivor's Instinct. I believe Survivor's Instinct is a little better. But here's what I was talking about earlier, guys. You see this confetti on the ground dropping? This is what drops from a survivor every 7 seconds when they are injured, and it's supposed to be this game's version of blood. In this case, though, now that we have Airwalk, you guys can see that no confetti is dropping on the ground, which is going to make it a lot harder for the hunter to find us if we were to try to hide in a corner or behind a tree or something like that. Obviously, you don't have to run Tide Turn if you don't want to. You can also run Flywheel. But if you don't want to run Flywheel, you can also run Broken Windows. You can use the points here however you want. It doesn't have to be on stun. But if I had to choose just one of these kiting builds, I would recommend Flywheel more, because if there's one hunter who can find you, it's Dreamwitch, and you're going to want to have Flywheel against that patroller. Now, there is a really cool combo with Explorer, and that is the fact that when you're sitting on chair, you actually build up your energy reserve speed boost. So if you combine that with Companion Effect, you get an insane boost off of chair. So this is the one reason I am running Companion Effect, just because even in the case that you do get found, it will just give you such a huge boost, and it could help you get a rebound kite going, even if it's just for like 20 seconds. And of course, guys, I know you all been waiting on it. It's the best Doctor build. Obviously, you want to be making sure you run Doctor on your Doctor build, because you want to be healing up as fast as possible mid-kite. But after that, you don't have a lot of points to spare. If you want, you could put on Touch Effect. I really would not recommend Shelter, because there is a cap on how fast you can heal. You can only heal 100% faster. Now, keep in mind, Doctor already heals herself 60% faster. She gives all teammates, including herself, 5% faster heal. The Doctor trait now makes you in total 90% healed. And since it caps out at 100%, it doesn't really make sense to run Shelter. Up to you guys, though. There's also the Flywheel version if you'd like. Once again, running Doctor, and we're running Horsefly Effect to help out on your kite. And with that, guys, that is all the major characters and the general kiting builds and rescue builds that you're going to want to have on basically every character. If there was a character I did not mention here, you can just assume it falls under the general character tree, and it's up to you guys whether you want to run Flywheel or Broken Windows on those kiting characters. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. Like this video if you want to get this out to more people so that your randoms are now running those crappy builds. And with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care. This has been Psyche.